The family has always been a central building block of society. But families have changed dramatically in the rich world over the past 50 years.
You may kiss your wonderful life partner and your wife.
Mommy.
He knows he has a donor. He knows that we're both his parents. He knows he doesn't have a dad and all of that. And it's just normal.
Changes to society mean that the old model of a breadwinning husband and a stay-at-home wife has all but collapsed.
A single mum supporting my own children is the normal nowadays.
And the different ways rich and poor families raise their children are increasing social inequality.
We are basically paying for preschool what I paid for college.
"50 years ago, families didn't look like this.
We're so gay. We work together, live together.
I love it.
Today, gay families like Maggie and Joelle's are widely accepted in the rich world.
There's so many gay families in San Francisco. It's amazing. It is becoming increasingly normalized. Who's in this photo?
A generation ago, it was almost unthinkable that same-sex couples would get married.
Look at this one. This one's really pretty. I like this one. You're pretty.
No. Look at this one.
But now most people in rich countries think gay marriage is fine.
I really, really wanted our families to accept our marriage as a marriage and not just like a girlfriend. And I think until that time, I swear, I think my family just thought I was in a phase for, 15 years. You were right. The wedding definitely had that effect on our families. They're in it with us now.
Fears that gay marriages would undermine heterosexual ones have proven unfounded. And this is one reason why marriage equality has spread so extraordinarily fast. Before 2001, gay marriage was not legal anywhere in the world. Since then, it's been legalized in nearly all rich countries, and developing nations are starting to follow suit.
In California, the right to get married was on and off, but I think 2 months before our wedding was when it became permitted. So that was a big part of our ceremony.
It's a far cry from the 1960s, when families typically consisted of a dad who went to work, a stay-at-home mum, and 3 or more kids. Better access for women to contraception, education and jobs has changed this traditional family portrait. Across the globe, families are shrinking. Nowhere more so than in South Korea. Here, a growing number of women are rejecting marriage and having children altogether. Like Go Lee, who is 26. Like many South Korean women, Go and her friends are well educated.
제일 좋아하는 멕시칸 음식을 먹으면서 이따가 코인 노래방도 놀러 가면서 그렇게 오늘을 놀려고 합니다.
She says traditional employers make it hard to combine a career with marriage and motherhood.
제가 결혼을 하지 않기로 결심한 이유는 일단 제 앞 커리어적인 측면을 보자면 제가 굉장히 사회에 나와서 가장 처음 뵌, 가장 존경하던 선배가 커리어에 이렇게 정진을 하시다가 어느 순간 이제 가정에 일임을 하시고 이제 경력이 단절되시고 굉장히 크게 좌절하시는 모습을 제가 본 적이 있어서.
Go works in IT, but is also a vlogger on YouTube, where she urges South Korean women to be more assertive.
여기서도 문제인 것은 성별에 따라 이 파워 포즈의 차이가 보인다는 겁니다. 여성분들이 좀 더 소극적이고 갇혀있는 포즈를 많이 사용을 하기 때문에.
She believes South Korean men are part of the problem. Many expect their wives to do all the housework and childcare, even if they have a job.
저희 한국 사회에서 오랫동안 가지고 있던 가부장적인 그런 문화가 저를 포함한 많은 20, 30대 여성분들이 결혼을 안 하는 이유의 미천이 되지 않나 저는 그렇게 생각하고 있습니다. 일단 한국 사회에서 여성을 보조로 보는 시선이 가장 큰 것 같고요. 가정에서도 뭐 사실 이런 하우스메이킹 하는 게 부수적인 일은 아니지만 뭐 이런 가정을 지키는 뭐 그런 건 아니잖아요. 가정의 뭐 메인이 되는 잡이 아니기 때문에.
There is a huge mismatch of expectations around marriage in South Korea. Most men want a 1950s-style relationship, whereas women want something more modern and equal. The result is they often end up not marrying or having kids at all. And that's left South Korea with a problem. Its population is in free fall. In 1960, the average South Korean woman had 6 children. In 2018, that figure shrank to less than 1. A fertility rate of 1 means each generation is half as big as the previous one. And in South Korea, this means there are fewer workers to support the country's aging population. In rural areas, men are viewed as poor prospects by South Korean women. So the government is helping these men to find brides from poorer countries. State-funded assimilation centres like this teach immigrant brides how to cook Korean food, how to speak Korean,
이건 뭘까요? 키위.
and even how to deal with Korean mothers-in-law.
한 사람씩 귀, 뉘, 뒤, 비. 아니?
Like most of her classmates studying here today, 19-year-old Wen Thi Cam Toi is from Vietnam.
벨트, 허리띠. 그래서 허리에 끈을 묶는 거. 허리띠. 그죠? 허리 끈.
She recently married a South Korean man, 40-year-old Kim Dae-hyun, who found her through a matchmaking website.
그때 보니까 이제 와이프 사진이 있더라고요. 9월에서 10월 사이에 와이프를 먼저 봤거든요. 사진 보고 이 사람이다 싶어가지고.
Over a fifth of married South Korean farmers and fishermen have tied the knot with a foreigner.
이제 한국 와서 이제 같이 결혼 생활을 하고 있어요. 아이는 아직 없고요. 예.
But cross-cultural unions can be difficult, and around a fifth of marriages between South Korean men and foreign women end in divorce within 4 years. This video of a man beating his foreign wife caused widespread outrage. 50 years ago, in most rich countries, domestic violence was considered normal. Now, it is universally condemned, and rates have fallen sharply, by 3/4 in America alone since the mid-1990s. Today, other factors are more likely to affect the stability of families, and these are contributing to a growing gulf between middle-class and working-class families. In most rich countries, if you don't go to university, you're more likely to have kids outside of marriage. And women who don't finish high school are more likely to end up as single mothers than women who have a degree.
I'm a single mum because at 20 weeks pregnant, Dad decided that he didn't want to be around no more. So I let him walk. It was easier to let him walk then than it was for him to actually build an attachment with the kids and then walk.
In Jamie's hometown of Hartlepool in northeast England, 70% of babies are born outside marriage.
Hey, Shawnee, we're going to cook these tonight.
Like her twins, Sean and Liam.
I am the sole earner of the household. Without my income, and my kids interrupt me, oh, get in, fetch me cucumbers because they're awesome. Can be a financial struggle.
Cucumbers, lovely.
In Hartlepool in the 1960s, men did heavy work in shipyards and factories, which was much better paid than any job their wives could find. So the women stayed at home with the kids. But as technology advances, manual work has dried up, and uneducated men have struggled to find good jobs.
Everything industrial here in Hartlepool is gone. There's nothing left. What comes with industrial decline? Poverty, depression, anxiety, family breakups, marriages separating, suicide. There's all sorts that come because people feel they can't provide for their family.
If the only men available lack steady jobs and don't help around the home, some women feel they are better off alone.
It can be hard to be a man. I presume it would be hard, you know, having to step back a little bit and realise that you might not be the breadwinner and that you are actually having to rely on a woman to feed the family and keep the roof over their head. So yeah, it can be hard for a man.
Middle-class families have remained solid in rich countries over the past 50 years, while working-class families have grown much less stable. Women with a university degree are more likely than women who do not finish high school to be married and raise children with their husband as a team. And this is contributing to a growing social divide. A divide that's increasingly apparent in the very different ways middle and working class families are raising their children. Although American fathers from all backgrounds do much more childcare than the previous generation, today wealthier fathers spend much more time with their kids than their poorer counterparts do.
Most of the weekdays, for example, my wife takes care of them, taking them to school, picking them up. And then when I come from work, I feed them, I play with them a little bit, give them a bath and put them to sleep. And during the weekends, we switch a little bit.
My husband always comes back home and takes care of that, like dinner sometimes or breakfast during the weekend. So it's a very, like 50-50, I would say.
Harvard-educated Gerardo shares the childcare duties with his wife Perla, who also studied there. The couple are investing time and money in stimulating their children intellectually.
We do take her to, for example, like abacus classes after school, where she's like starting to learn how to do additions and subtractions. And sometimes we come home and do a little bit of extra work.
By the age of 3, the children of professional families have heard 30 million more words than children from poorer backgrounds.
From 0 to 5, it's very important that you spend time with your kids. From there, it's like you feel they already have the values ingrained.
A child's early years are the most important for cognitive development. So children of professionals have a head start long before they start school. The pushy middle-class style of raising kids is sometimes called intensive parenting.
So intensive parenting, it's the idea that parents are investing an enormous amount of time and energy in their children's development early on.
Sean Reardon is a professor of poverty and equality in education at Stanford University and has studied the influence of class on parenting and how well kids do in school.
It's as if you thought of your child as an orchid, a delicate flower that needs daily attention, as opposed to thinking of your child in the way that parents used to think of their children, as a tree or a bush. We don't water the trees or the bushes. It's in their nature to grow, and barring any sort of catastrophe, they'll do just fine.
Hold tight, okay?
Middle-class parents not only talk more to their children and take them to ballet, chess and extra maths classes, they also compete to get them into the best schools.
Good job. Actually, her school is less than a mile from here, and it's a bilingual school. They have teachers full-time Mandarin and full-time English, and all of them have master's degrees and very high-level education.
Gerardo and Perla's daughter Elizabeth is learning 5 languages, including Mandarin.
I think going to the school, she's going to be more open to learning and talking with people, like turning around and speaking Mandarin, and talking around and speaking Spanish. Así, ¡Salut! Okay, Elise, ¿cómo cantas Happy Birthday en chino? Despacito, derecha.
But all this education doesn't come cheap. Elizabeth's preschool costs $31,000 a year.
Definitely costs of daycare and preschool have been way more than we expected originally.
Yes.
We are basically paying for preschool what I paid for college.
So in the richest communities in the United States, the average student scores 3 to 4 grade levels above the national average. And in the poorest communities, the average student scores maybe 2 to 3 grade levels below the national average. So the difference in performance is a result of differences in opportunities.
A gulf is growing between wealthy families that stick together and raise high-achieving kids, and blue-collar families that struggle to do either. This gap is about much more than money. Well-educated men are more likely than in the past to marry highly educated women. The children of these clever parents are more likely to be clever, and the children of stable families are more likely to raise stable and high-achieving families of their own.
As you get a society that's more divided economically and educationally, you increasingly run the risk of having a society that doesn't have empathy for other parts of itself. The risk is you end up with a kind of more socially and economically polarized society as a result of this.
Well-educated families have become success factories, passing on their advantages to their kids. By contrast, many poorer children grow up with no first-hand experience of what a stable family looks like. As men and women have grown more equal over the past 50 years, families have grown much less so.